We're audible.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party returned to the Ozian village of Hyarmen and Blue Blood. Their quest for the keys halfway through, and making good progress on the third. But on their return to Hyarmen, the party found that the village was heavily locked down. The guards stepping up their patrols, as it seems that Ergos is onto you in some form or another, and is refusing to allow maps or anything that could be used to convey hidden messages within the village's territories. So, laying low with another party argument under your belt, the party laid low and managed to commune with some rebels in secret through magical means to discover the current problem and their solution. Aurora has left for the capital, likely to intercept you guys and meet up with you once the final stage of the plan commences. And with that in mind, Aurora left the Hyarmen rebels with a final order, that on your return to the village, they were to instigate a fight with the guards that would keep them distracted and their eyes away from the mountain, so that you will not be spotted and shot down while attempting to scale it. And so, the plan has commenced. The rebels have begun attacking the dark Ergosian fort outside of Hyarmen to give you guys the cover you need to get up the Knocking Mountains. And when we left off, you guys were witnessing the beginnings of that plan as you started working your way up and are maintaining a dead run to get up there before you lose your cover. Also, welcome, Keto. So, that being said, you guys continue your run up the mountain path. The distant battle behind you begins to fade into mere very distant yells and gunfire, until eventually even that fades into silence. As the path winds, you eventually come to what appears to be the base of the Knocking Mountains. You see the towering mesa above you, and rocks and boulders litter the ground before you. And Caleb, you note with some discomfort that you can make out Inquisitor bodies buried under some of the rocks. It appears this rockfall was recent to some degree.
Oh dear.
Oh. Helen Ford Virginia.
Oh, it's oh no.
Whatever, so do.
Tragedy.
Oh god. Are you gonna rocks fall us?
I'll do that.
About in total, the path has taken you about an hour and a half away from Hyarmen. The rocks, this rusty reddish-brown color, all these rocks and boulders gathered at the base. The Inquisitor remains buried beneath them are tattered. Not quite skeletal yet, but definitely on the old side, some of these. Still clutching whatever they were holding in their lifeless grip. The mesa that looms over your head, shadowing you from the sun, is easily 100 feet high. And you can see some thick bushels of ivy growing up the sides. That being said... Oh, and as one final note, Kero, you note as you kind of tilt your head that you can hear the calls of dragons at the top of the mesa. They don't sound aggressive, more just kind of passively talking to each other.
Didn't Liv say that there was some kind of vines or something we were supposed to climb or go beneath? Lucian would remember, because
Oh god, here we
she
go with
smarter
that
than
keen
I
mind.
am.
Yes.
Listen, it's so useful.
Matthew's just over there like, oh god, here we go again with the keen mind.
I mean, in fairness, like, someone in the party needs to remember what people say to you. And if you have to use game mechanics to do that, then so be it. And yes, as I said, there are bushels of ivy growing up the sides. They do appear like you could reasonably climb them.
Now we're climbing ivy up a mountain when yesterday we were shimmying a rope across lava.
Does it look poisonous?
Make a nature check.
While she does that,
I'm gonna ask. Hey, Carol, could you come and help me with this, please?
what?
Does this look poisonous to you?
I would like to see how slippery the slope is.
How do you
For
mean?
advantage over there.
Also, how do you mean to test this? Just for flavor.
Am,
I guess he's more just right now. Just
but I don't eat it.
so he'll just for now just based off of if he can he see anything that would look like somewhere slippery. I guess.
Make a perception check.
Yes, that I can do.
In the meantime,
I thought if you're looking for something specific, you do investigation.
well, here I'm calling it perception because he's basically just looking over the area to see if there's anything that would slip him up. Investigation, I would call it more if basically I typically go for if it's tactile, it's investigation. If it's visual, it's perception.
Oof. Owie.
Oh, shit. Hang
Did you
on.
roll a 1?
No, I rolled a 2, so 10.
Alright, noted. Gil, what are you doing?
Dear god, he gets plus 8.
He's eating
perception.
Yeah, I have an 18 pass.
Well,
Is
he's
that-
looting the bodies.
Alright, make me an investigation check. While you're doing that, Kato, what are you doing? Lucian asked you for help with the ivy. Do you want to help them with that?
You're looting what?
Yes, I will help with that.
Alright. And Caleb, what are you doing?
Waiting to see if they say about the vines.
Alright. In that case, we'll circle around. Lucian, with your Caro has given you advantage. What'd you roll?
23. I got a natural 19.
Alright. By you and Caro's best judgment as you carefully examine the ivy without directly touching it, no, this ivy does not appear poisonous. Although it definitely isn't a type of ivy you recognize, this ivy is unfamiliar to both of you. It doesn't have any of the signs of poison, at least on the surface. So, by your metric of surface plants, you do not think this ivy is poisonous.
Well, that's good enough for Caleb. Caleb's gonna start to climb.
Alright.
Yep. Same with Lucian.
Alright.
Is
Seeing
got a roll
the...
to climb?
we still got some other things to resolve first, but, Caleb, seeing Lucian and Caro step back approvingly, you immediately start to climb up. Lucian not far behind you, using the ivy as a handhold. Gil, what'd you get for investigation?
16.
Alright, searching the various bodies. You find that quite a few of them were still equipped with their lances. A assorted few have short swords. One has a crossbow, but the one that catches your eye, as at least somewhat unusual, is one has what appears to be a tattered scroll clutched in their grip.
Whoa.
Alright. You have to pull a bit to get the scroll out of the rigor mortis-induced clutch, but you do manage to tear it free without tearing it.
We'll pocket it for now.
Alright, want to grab anything else you saw, or is that good? Alright, pocketing the scroll, you grab onto the ivy and start climbing. Zephyr, looking over the mountain as your comrades start the climb. What'd you roll for? So you got a 10 on perception?
Yeah.
No, you don't see anything that would slip you up. In fact, it looks quite secure.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
It's like... With, like, if somebody has high enough modifiers, wouldn't even a nat 1 be a high number?
Well, natural 1 is immediately fails. So.
Yeah, but similar to how a nat 20 is an immediate success no matter your modifier, same goes for a nat 1. Like, you just fail no matter what. While some people don't like that, I personally like it because it means even the most OP character has a chance of failure.
Yeah, I mean, technically that's an optional rule. It's not even... It's like a part.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Because that's why some people don't use it, is because some people don't like that. Like, basically, I like it because it means even perfect characters can fail. Other people dislike it because it means any character can potentially succeed. So it just depends on how you approach the game. But anyway. Keto, everyone sans Zephyr looks like they're starting the climb. What do you want to do?
I think the people who are worried about any character succeeding are the people who make the mistake of thinking of it as the DM versus the players.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Is there any way I can notify our raptor friends of what's going on?
Not from this distance. But last you saw them, they were in the highlands, so, you know, at worst, you imagine they might observe the battle, but, you don't know if they'll make the mistake of jumping in thinking you're involved, at least directly.
Right. So I'll just start the climb then.
Alright. Zephyr, looking over the mesa, this looks fairly secure.
Alright. I guess I will proceed to walk.
Alright. As you all start grabbing on... yeah, so... I don't believe Neon will have a way to get Morgan up here. So Neon... Yeah, most likely. But they've had to do that before and have demonstrated that they're willing, so... Neon will exit Morgan and giving it a small pat on the leg and muttering something under their breath. They kind of toddle up and start hoisting themselves up, kind of wrapping the vines around their wrists as handholds. And Raccoon clutching onto your back, Gil.
Call alarm.
Yeah. Alright. As you all start scaling the mesa, Zephyr just kind of casually walking up ahead of all of you. Everyone who is making the climb, please make me an athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
Well, considering that Caleb's athletics is -1 and his acrobatics is +3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Sounds like it still wasn't good.
Jeremy also has the look of alarm on his face.
Inspiration.
Alright.
Oh, don't you have inspiration?
Okay, that's
Oh,
better.
man.
17
Okay.
on the inspiration. I don't know if
What'd you roll the first time? Just for flavoring.
The first time would have been an 8.
Okay, noted.
I was expecting worse, to be honest.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, anything below 10 is probably an automatic failure.
I mean, it depends, but...
Because, like, most, like, saves and stuff are base 10 with modifiers.
And actually, it's 8 plus modifiers.
Yeah, it's just that even a level 1 creature will typically have a +2 proficiency, which basically beefs it to an automatic 10. But, so, yeah, basically, either way, the core point stands. But, yeah, if you use your inspiration, that's fine. Lucy and Gil with the 2v1.
I don't want to find out what a failure while climbing a mountain is.
I got a 21.
Okay, Gil?
Not one.
Oh!
And I don't have inspiration.
Keto?
Oh. Well, rip Gil.
Nah, he's fine.
Are you sure?
So we didn't go that far up, so.
It seems everyone's getting pretty low rolls right now.
Oh, no.
Oof. Sorry. I got a 2.
Ouch!
Alright.
The sound in Matthew's voice there, he's like, oh boy.
We're gonna get caught anyway. They did all of this for us.
Alright. Zephyr, you kind of glance idly over your shoulder as you just walk 90 degrees up the mesa.
Zephyr walks away.
Yeah, Zephyr walks away. The rest of you continue to scale pretty much in the order you had started your climbs. Caleb, Lucian, Gil, Keto. Raccoon clutching on 2. Gil's back, and Neon bringing up the rear behind Keto.
Oh no, I don't like.
Something bad is about to happen, or he was rolling for Neon?
Caleb, as you're starting your scale, or rather, like, continuing it, easily about 50 feet in the air at this point, about halfway up, you feel this sharp, harsh tug on the back end of the vine you're grabbing, and looking down, you see Gil has basically put too much, tried to wrap both hands around one vine, which basically puts all of that elvish muscle weight onto a single plant, which definitely not made to hold it. These things aren't even bearing fruit, let alone elves. And the vine snaps. And Caleb and Lucian, both of you have to, like, flail and fumble as the vine just slides effortlessly out of your grip under Gil's weight. Caleb, you desperately clutch and scramble before managing to dig your nails into a handhold that's basically beaten into the side of the cliff, and turning around it, Lucian's just barely managed to secure her remaining arm tightly around the vine, and Gil, as you start to feel yourself weightlessly falling backwards, Lucian just manages to, given that you typically don't wear a shirt, has no choice but to grab your hair and hold you up by that before you fall to your death. But Gil, as your arms flail, Caro, you look up in confusion as the vine goes slack, and Gil just immediately, like, unconsciously just knocks you in the head, and you kind of blink and almost get concussed, and you almost start to fall yourself, but can feel Neon pushing up against the small of your back, and Neon pipes up from the back of the line, "For God's sake, can you guys not even climb a vine properly?"
I like how he
That's Neon.
I like how he was able to include the fact I used inspiration and the flavor.
Yeah, I try to do that. That's why I always ask what both rolls were when you guys get advantage. You all, Zephyr, you kind of observe this scene curiously.
So, no problem.
Caleb, your heart is pounding as you look at the fall you almost took. And Lucian, you're struggling to hold Gil up by his hair. Gil, it hurts.
Hey, just be glad he didn't make you take any damage from it.
And Caro, you kind of have to struggle to recenter yourself a bit as Gil nearly knocked you at Kettle with the back of his hand.
Wait, so Neon
You didn't go rocks.
Oh wait. Caro has that suit.
Caro's like a turtle. Just,
Refocusing yourselves.
That's enough.
Caleb, as you wait for your heart to stop pounding, you carefully start to climb again. This time, careful to grab more on some of the loose rocks and handholds rather than relying purely on the vines. And the rest of the party learns to quickly follow suit. And you're all starting to gather what may have happened to these Inquisitors. But the rest of the climb is thankfully uneventful. Zephyr, of course,
roll again.
Zephyr, you of course reach the top first, and as you reach the top of the mesa and find yourself back on flat ground, you kind of look around curiously. You find yourself looking at a large cave, although not like a deep one that looks like it would necessarily lead anywhere, just a particularly large cave mouth. And gathered at the base of this cave, now all peering at you curiously, is a massive flock of the flying dragons you've been seeing. You see some of the little pudgy ones with the tails, you see some of the crested ones like Ruby, you even see some massive ones that you think may be the swamp stalkers, all just staring at you as you find your footing on the cliff face.
I mean, he'll probably just kind of look them over and simply just let's. He'll do like a tip of the hat motion, like you know, how you do.
How do you do?
Yeah.
They stare at you for a moment before suddenly taking off. And Zephyr, while you kind of instinctively go for your umbrella, they do fly towards you, but then fly over you. The rest of you climbing up the mountain, about 75 feet up now, you look up, Zephyr having already disappeared over the lip of the mesa, and see a massive dragon flock taking flight, running as if the devil itself is at their heels. Crested ones, fat ones, swamp stalkers, all flying with massive beating wings in a massive flock away from the cliff.
So Matthew, isn't there like a method to calculate fall damage in D&D?
You take 1d6 damage for every 10 feet you fall.
Yeah,
So if you were to fall right now, you would take 7d6 bludgeoning damage.
It's not too bad, but therefore just kind of look at this like, do I spell that badly? Yes, they get bad.
Zephyr, it takes a while for the whole flock to clear out. It seems there were quite a few living here. But they don't attack you or even so much as snap at you, just fly away. By the time they've cleared out, while they're not attacking you, you feel like you may get hurt if you try to pass through it. You just kind of wait, unless you have something else you'd prefer to do. But by the time the flock is about clearing out, the rest of the party starts to reach the top. And Caleb, as you hoist yourself over the side and are relieved to be back on semi-solid ground, and Lucien and the others not far behind you, as you all find your footing, Zephyr, you kind of tilt your head in curiosity a bit, as there is one dragon left. A large black one, which you recognize as being one of the swamp stalkers. Much smaller than the ones you encountered previously, though. Relatively small, only a little bit bigger than Ruby. Which, compared to the behemoths that could swallow you whole, quite a downscale. And this one just tilts its head at you, Zephyr, and turns its beaked head to peer at you through one of its eyes as you all gather yourselves and find your footing on the cliff face.
Is it making, like, curious sounds? Or is it making, like, you look like food sounds?
It initially isn't making any noise, but then eventually it does let out a low gurgling. And kind of clicks its beak. Certainly doesn't seem aggressive. It seems... the best way you can describe it is curious, but cautious. You get the impression that these creatures do not have the best association with people trying to climb their mountain at this point.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah.
Man, it probably smells terrible because there's probably pterodactyl droppings everywhere.
Oh, yes, definitely. If it wasn't for the fact that it was, like, relatively open air to distribute it, you can absolutely, like, Caleb, at a glance, you can absolutely see, like, this, like, white crust over, like, most of the rocks.
Damn it, I dropped my dice again.
I guess he'll look to the party as where to next.
Can we see, like, any indication of, like, where the temple that's up here is?
Make a perception check.
I'm very good at perception.
Yeah.
Lucian, what are you doing?
Calculator.
Hang on, she disconnected.
Like,
Her
I got a 23.
Alright.
Crash.
Alright, yeah, technology issue for the elves. Keto, what are you doing?
But I want to help.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. Alright, Caleb, go ahead and roll with advantage. See if you get something better.
The second roll is a 19.
Alright.
Oh dear. They've both gone slow-mo.
there we go.
The robots are taking over.
Slow-mo robot. Oh my god, Mr. Roboto.
Keto, what are you doing?
I'm back.
Untitled.
I've already tried.
Kind of.
There we go.
Can I inspect this creature?
Absolutely. How do you want to go about it? Like, what are you looking for?
Just its general, like, body language.
Make an animal handling check.
Let me see.
Is this any better?
I got a 16.
Sound better, at least. We'll see if it holds up. And 16 for animal handling? Alright. Kato, looking over the creature's body language, what you interpret kind of surprises you. Looking over the creature, it's a little pudgier than most of the creatures like this you've seen. Most creatures like this, have to maintain a certain level of skinniness to be able to fly. So this one having a bit of pudge kind of surprises you. What also surprises you is, especially with the entire flock taking off at the mere sight of someone on their mountain, the fact that this one stayed and doesn't seem incapable of flight. It's big enough, it seems old enough to be able to fly and physically capable. That combined with...
Pudgy.
Yeah, but pudgy, but not so pudgy that it couldn't fly. By your best judgment, it looks like it could. The best conclusion you can come to between its seeming lack of hostility or even fear, combined with its kind of like Pudgeon's form, you get the impression this creature might be domesticated. It doesn't seem to have a fear of people, and definitely seems very well taken care of.
The best thing to do with tamed animals is offer them some food.
Alright.
So scour around in my bag for food.
Alright, easily done. And how many rations are you willing to part with?
How big is it, like, compared to me?
It's a little bigger than Ruby, so this thing's still pretty big. It's just smaller than most of the Swamp Stalkers typically are. I'd say, at its current posture, where, it's quadrupedal at the moment, I'd say it definitely is bigger than you. By a relatively good, healthy margin. It does kind of stoop in curiosity as you start rifling through your bag. Still cautious, but definitely interested when you start rifling through your possessions.
Since it's so much bigger, yes, I'll give it 2 days of my own rations, because I have rations separately for the other animals.
Alright.
Yes.
In the meantime, while you're grabbing the food, Caleb and Gil, the two of you kind of survey the surroundings, and you're honestly not sure. Looking around, you do not see, the vines do not appear to go any higher up the mountain, and while Caleb, you do see some of the, same kind of pocks and handholds that you had used to climb up this one, you don't see the same kind of obvious indication of a pathway. And given that you and Gil both can make out some tears in the rock face, you imagine some Inquisitors have tried it, and it didn't go so well for them. So, it definitely looks like the path continues up the mountain, but it seems a lot less deliberate. You get the impression it's sort of the road less traveled, but you can't see any other obvious ways over it, or around it for that matter. And the cave, Caleb, kind of poking your head in with a glance and wrinkling your nose a bit at the smell, doesn't appear to go anywhere. But, Keto, as you hold your food out to the beast, it enthusiastically gives a "Wah!" and starts, scuttling towards you, almost startlingly quickly, and promptly noshes the rations out of your hand. And as it reaches its massive beaked head back, you kind of flinch a little bit as you remember its more mature cousins impaling your comrades. As it swallows the food you provided, it kind of wiggles its head side to side, and gives a "Wah!" before kind of starting to nudge at your legs.
Oh, I see.
I love the sound you make.
Yeah, I mean, they're just big giraffe birds, so...
Given that sound, it almost reminds me of a seagull sound.
Yeah, well, I mean, what is a pteranodon but a big seagull? Granted, this isn't a pteranodon, but still. You get the point.
Well,
I don't know, I feel like Kevin's gonna have some problems with that theory.
Yeah, I'll make it his problem later. Anyways, what are you doing, Kara?
So it'll speak with animals.
Okay. You cast Speak with Animals. What would you like to say?
Hello.
Oh, hi! all of you can hear Caro immediately starting up a new conversation with this creature.
So, why?
Smells like my pie.
Why are all of them fleeing?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Why are all of the other ones running?
Oh, well, they get kind of scared of people climbing the mountain. Every time someone climbs the mountain, they're usually trying to kill us.
That is unfortunate. We are not here to kill you, though.
Oh, I know. You gave me food. That means I'm supposed to take you to the temple.
Oh.
So I messaged Kevin. So pterodons, basically giant prehistoric seagulls. He actually, you know what? He agreed. I think so.
Valid.
Well, yeah, they did live near the water, so...
Yeah. I guess pelicans would be more accurate, but anyway, not important. So, Gato?
Would you be okay with bringing all of my friends with me?
Oh, of course. You're all very small.
That is true. Most of us are small.
Especially that one. And Zephyr, you can see the creature kind of nod its beak towards you.
Zephyr looks in confusion.
Yeah, no, you can't understand this. I'm just saying you see it do that.
Yeah, he looks in confusion.
Caro nods, and turns to the group and relays that it wants to take us to the temple.
Well, I guess
What a good little dragon.
When there is a dog engaged in combat.
Yeah, war.
Big ol' angry eyebrows.
Not our dogs. Actually, you know what? It is.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's 100% your dogs.
Sorry, I'm a little high right now. I'm not like registering things right now.
It's all good. But yeah, so... Alright, Caleb, Zephyr. Oh, jeez. Cato relays that this dragon appears interested in taking you guys to the temple.
Well, I guess the funny little dragon can lead the way.
Little.
Little by most of his species kind.
I guess that's fair. Although, I can't lead you guys there. It's more gonna be a thing of... And... you all watch, Kara, you can try to resist this if you wish. The creature nudges its beak under your legs, Caro, and basically just throws you over its head to land on its shoulders, and it kind of adjusts its stance to allow you to kind of get a grip on it, and kind of tilting its head to glance at you with a bird-like eye. I'm not going to be able to carry all of you on my back, but I'll figure something out.
Maybe just go one
Hey,
at a
Gil.
time.
Wait. You're telling me I have to ride on that giant dragon?
Yes. Gil,
Yeah.
do you still have the basket for Ruby?
Does he?
Yeah, I don't believe he got rid of it.
It would be on the card, which is with more.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh well.
Maybe the dragon can go one at a time?
Oh no, I can lift all of you. It's just going to be a little uncomfortable.
Just for some of you.
Well, why do you need to take us? Your stuff?
You has an idea.
Here we go.
Oh god.
So,
Let's
he
see.
wants to go and grab some vines.
Is he gonna try to make a basket?
And he's gonna make some makeshift harnesses that I can, if he'll allow me to, tie to his legs.
Alright.
So he can transport us all easily.
I think I'd rather ride on it than be wrapped up in sushi.
Gil, you can still do it if you wish.
That's not how you make sushi.
I know that's how you make sushi!
Do we know about sushi?
But yes, I would like to do it. How do I do it?
Make me a survival check.
What do I roll? Survival? Got it.
Guidance.
And I will ask why does it need us to get on it?
Kara, you kind of glance at the creature, which kind of tilts its head at Zephyr. As per the norm, it seems like it can basically understand what you're saying. You just can't understand it in turn. But Kara, unless you state otherwise, I'll assume you're translating. Although if you want to like translate yourself like in character, then you can. But it kind of turns its head back to you, Kara. And well, you can try to walk all that way, but it's really far. And if the other ones see you, they're not going to be happy.
Other what?
Other ones like me.
I see. We should fly on him.
Like,
Or, what are you? Are you girl or boy?
I'm a boy.
Okay.
Did Carol ever relay that it looks like it's domesticated?
One more time.
Did Carol ever mention that it looks like it's tamed?
Yeah, I believe you are, right, Kara?
Sorry, what did he say?
You're relaying all of this?
Yes.
Did you relay that it was tamed?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the people who own the temple feed you a lot?
The creature nods. Uh-huh. They said they did the same thing for my parents. They said that my job is to wait here, and if someone attacks me, then I fly off or kill them. But if someone feeds me, then that means I'm supposed to take them to the temple, because that means they're like us.
And in the meantime, you just hang out with the other flying things?
Yeah. No reason not to. This is where we come to, well, do everything, really. Get food until I'm big enough to head to the forest. We build our nests here, and this is where we make all of our friends.
We didn't kill his parents.
Where are your parents?
Probably out hunting in the forest.
Do they come back here?
Oh no.
I don't think we killed anything besides that
You
fish.
killed one.
I think we only killed the fish creature.
Well, you did kill one of the Quetzalcoatluses, but I think that was it.
Caleb's
No,
gonna ask,
nothing.
do they stay in the forest or do they come back here eventually?
Oh,
Girl!
they come back here every so
Right.
often to make sure I get food. But they'll usually stay in the forest for a few days to build up as much as they can. Normally, I would be there with them, but they said it's my job to stay here.
Do they carry people up or is that just your job?
They used to, but they said it was my turn.
Again, I'm just assuming that Kara's relaying all this.
Yeah. Kara's just, Kwa said that Kara's just translating all this.
Do you have a name?
Not really. Most of the people just call me the guardian of the temple. Do you want to give me a name?
I think I would like that. What should
Mm.
his name be?
Just as I'm such with naming
Okay.
things.
Give me a... I do have.
Well, you'll have plenty of time.
Leave me alone.
Are you guys ready to go?
I will call you Tadpole.
Tadpole.
Alright, I guess I'm Tadpole then.
Tadpole, guardian of the temple.
Yes, very
They kind of
Got a 21 on my survival.
Alright. Gil, pulling some vines free, you start to tie them together, and while it's not exactly professional, for an improvised harness, it's not bad.
One.
And as you guys start using their name, and Caleb, especially after your remark, Tadpole kind of heightens themselves up and wiggles their crest proudly.
Isn't it like a strange color compared to the other pterodons?
Let me
said it
believe
was like
so.
black or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm double checking my notes, but I believe that's the case. Also, Gil, what'd you say real quick? Like earlier?
Osmond, it means divine protector. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry,
But
I got excited.
But they
Go
said
ahead.
my name is Tadpole. Also,
I asked if anyone
yeah.
else wanted a harness.
And in response to you, Caleb, this one is dark colored, which, yeah, even for their species is kind of unusual, as the ones you saw in the forest were incredibly colorful. It looks more like the one you saw carrying people across the island whenever you guys first came here. You don't know if it's like a breeding thing or what.
Caleb's gonna ask, are your parents colored like you are?
They give a nod. Uh-huh.
Because it don't seem like very many of the ones like you are that color.
Mm-hmm. It's just the ones that take care of this temple that are that color. And kind of approaching you, Caleb, the creature lowers its head for you to climb aboard if you wish.
Caleb will climb aboard. Give him like a head pat.
They kind of wiggle their head affectionately. Kara, what were you going to say?
Gil, can you make a vest for Garrow?
Gil.
I think Garrow can get up.
Yeah, Garrow was going with Kato, so I usually just, like, merge their checks into one, basically.
Tigers can climb.
Yeah, and tigers can climb. Yeah, I think with Garrow's stat sheet, they actually can just straight climb anyway, so... either way, Garrow would have been fine.
No, I know. I just figure it wouldn't be very comfortable to have a tiger clawing into him.
No. Yeah, more like, because he had asked how Garrow even got up here.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, make it Garrow 1.
Okay. I'll say with your previous survival check, I'll say at most you can make 2. There's only so many vines. And you are satisfied a bit as you pull the last of the vines free to start on a second harness. From the looks of it, while the handholds still remain, you have removed one of the main ways to get up here until the ivy grows back. So you also are satisfied that will at least significantly hinder, if not outright halt, any attempts to follow you.
Perfect.
Alright, and how do you want to go about tying them to Tadpole?
Each foot, if I can.
Alright. Which they kind of tilt their head a bit curiously, but do stretch their legs out to allow you to do this.
Thank you.
Alright. And once you've secured the harnesses, as you start to walk away, you feel a pair of talons grab around your neck and pull you in, and kind of stumbling a bit as they kind of tripodal themselves along. They grab Garrow with another set, and Zephyr, you see them reaching down to grab you in their beak.
Mixed feeling, but I guess we'll do this.
And Lucian, they tilt their head down to allow you onto their back. Between you, Caleb, and Caro, it's definitely going to be a bit of a squeeze, but it's this or nothing.
I kind of give it a pat on the head. Are you sure you want me to come on to your back? I can wait for you to come back.
Didn't want that long. Are we supposed to be in a hurry?
It's okay, I can do it.
Listen, get over your fear of flying and get on this and get on.
Nobody said I was afraid of flying, Gil.
Come on.
Get a hold of yourself. You don't need to panic about flying.
I'm not panicking!
You're definitely...
Zephyr, you feel yourself being hoisted into the air and kind of unceremoniously dropped onto Caleb. Caleb, you have to kind of reach out and catch your brother almost instinctively and help him find his seating. As Lucian, you feel a beak wrap around your waist now and hoist you off of the ground. And Caro, the tadpole, turns to look at you over their shoulder, over Zephyr and Caleb's heads. Is that everyone?
Are they gonna carry Lucian in their mouth?
Did Neon get on?
Yeah, I'll say that Neon is, since Raccoon is on Gil's back, I'll say that Neon is on...
on Garrow.
I'll say they're on Garrow.
Yeah.
Just a fox sitting on a tiger.
The ultimate predator. So, Caro, what's your answer?
A tiger or a talk?
Okay.
I like talks. That sounds fun.
Yes, it is everyone.
Alright, here we go! And Gil and Garrow, you're kind of dragged along the rocks as he crawls closer to the cliff face. And Lucian, you're the first to see him just peering over the 100-foot drop as he just kind of pulls back a bit before jumping. All of you on his back, in his talons, and in his beak, see the ground suddenly appear beneath you and begin to rapidly grow closer as he falls. But as his wings spread open... What's up?
Screaming. Just loud, distressed screaming.
Carol is laughing very loud.
I can't imagine what a frog sounds like laughing.
Probably like a tiny screeching.
Like
Zephyr at the front, Caleb behind.
It's like that one frog, the meme of where it's like just a ball that's just squeaking.
Oh yeah, the desert rain frog.
Yeah, that's its war cry.
This is the sound of
an angry frog.
Of a very angry frog.
All of you can hear the wind rushing into its outspread wings as just before it starts to get close to the ground, it flattens itself out and takes off into the air. And Lucian, you have this feeling of vertigo as you see yourself like falling towards the ground, only to immediately be back where you started and going even higher. All of you can quickly see the peak of the mountain that it seemed so out of reach before below you, as Tadpole kind of adjusts their course and flaps their wings to kind of find their hovering before beating their wings one more time and beginning to glide towards the mountain. Gil, you can hear a below you and look down to see Ruby taking off from Morgan and kind of rapidly beating their wings to catch up, seeming to interpret this as some sort of flock flight.
As she gets closer, can I toss her a fish?
Sure. It's a bit of a difficult maneuver, especially as you do not want to risk slipping out of Tadpole's grip, but you manage to reach into your backpack carefully and lightly toss a fish, which Ruby catches as they start to find their speed to match Tadpole's, or at least be maintaining a speed behind. The flight is uncomfortable. Those of you on its outstretched neck, which you're thankful for how long it is, it constantly bobs and weaves, and Caro and Caleb towards the back especially can feel the ever-spinning shoulder blades, like, kind of kneading into how you're sitting, which is very uncomfortable sensation. Gil and Garrow in their talons just try to hold still and not move too much and keep a grip on their forelegs. And Lucian, you can feel hot breath washing over your clothes as you desperately maintain a grip on their beak in case they drop you.
This looks gross.
What happened to play?
Well, I was going to say, I should be in a harness, not just in his claws.
I didn't say he put you in the harness. I said you tied the harness to him and then he grabbed you.
So you need a chance.
You didn't even explain what they were for. You just tied something to him and he was like, okay, and then just flew off.
I'd already tied it to myself first.
Well, I mean, he's still holding on to you. You can force him to drop you if you want. I'm just explaining that he's not, like, letting you dangle.
It's like Gil forgot
I'm going
to
to request for
explain.
Kara to ask him to let me go.
No, you
Wait, what?
fucking dare!
Why?
Like, hey Lucy, watch this!
That scream!
I hate you!
Caro, do you try to relay this to Tadpole?
Does everybody hear
Carol-
Gil say this?
Yes. As best as you can over the wind and beating wings, anyway.
And Lucian's
Caleb
screaming.
just looks at Carol like, did he really just say that?
Carol's gonna like look to Gil. Can I see how secure they are? If I can see them from here.
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Can Caleb help?
Make a perception with advantage.
Okay. Good thing it was an advantage. No, actually, never mind.
I can't give you guidance.
Oh, my dice. They hate me.
What did you roll?
I rolled a nat 1 and then a 2. Okay, so
You seriously need to get
You need to put that shit in jail.
yeah, these need dice jail.
Yeah, put that shit in dice jail.
I got a 7.
I'm gonna send.
Quah, those dice
I'm gonna
are
send them.
cursed.
Yeah.
Caro, Caleb, the two of you kind of lean, carefully keeping your grip on Tadpole's neck, and look over Gil's harness. Yeah, it's secure. Honestly, it could probably handle a drop from his full weight and then some without snapping. It's ivy vines. Ivy vines are practically indestructible.
Wait, is he in the harness, or did he just get grabbed?
Well, I think
he basically tied one end around the leg and then one end around himself. So if Tadpole drops him, not only does that harness have to hold his weight, it has to withstand a 300-odd pound elf dropping like a rock and then hold him there.
Huh.
I will reiterate, Caleb, that because yeah, I'll say that with the advantage. That was your 2 on perception. I will say you can at least draw the conclusion. You saw this ivy crack under Gil's weight while he was climbing it. That was whenever it wasn't having to by itself hold up his weight.
Caleb's just gonna think, and he's just gonna look at Karen and just be like, no.
Okay, Carol will not say it. We'll explicitly tell Tadpole to not let him go, actually.
Tadpole kind of leans their head a bit to you. What?
Don't keep a good grip on the clawed ones.
It's okay, I wasn't planning on letting him go.
Okay, good. Don't do it.
Why would I?
Because he's a fool.
I like how the whole time Lucina is just yelling, stop talking! Stop talking!
Oh yeah, that's a big...
Stop! Just doing this whole conversation.
Just ask, say,
Never! Don't you fucking dare!
Gil, you kind of, I presume, pout a little bit as their grip on you maintains itself.
This is just a fucking, like... This is just... I don't even know what the word is for this debacle that's going on right now. You got Gil trying to get the thing to let him go. We got Lucian screaming.
This is also another great example of and Jeremy, obviously, I love you, you're great, but I love this. This is the latest in a series of Jeremy's characters not thinking things through. Because I love, if anything, shouldn't the harness have been a backup in case he dropped you for real? Why would you want him to drop you just for the sake of using the harness?
Did he say
Jeremy, I love you with all of my heart, but sometimes I wonder about you.
As you guys are carted over the Knocking Mountains, you can see a beautiful view. You see...
Hey, don't eat that!
You can see the Unsun Sea, this underdark ocean stretching out on the other side of the mountains that defend this underdark land from onlookers. Almost protectively acting as a curtain, these mountains. And Caleb, looking up at the sky, you can actually see where the magical sky begins to peter out and dissipate before revealing the dark, starry, gem-lit cavern ceiling of the Underdark that acts as this world's sky. You can see the ocean going from this beautiful tropical blue to this dark pitch black that reflects the light of ores and gems and riches untold like stars. And flitting over it all, you can see massive groups of these dragons flying over the water, diving to catch undersea fish before flying back up to presumably return the catches to their nest. Looking down at the mountains, Gil, you can see what is a rough sort of pathway that you could have taken, but not only was it well hidden, but looking, you can see several other bones littering it. Presumably, Inquisitors had attempted this path and not made it. And looking it over, it definitely would have taken quite a while, too, as you're going as the dragonflies. Speaking of, as you crest the Knocking Mountains, looking at this beautiful stretch of sea, you all turn your attention downward as your pilot begins to lower themselves a bit. And you can see the coastline where the Unsun Sea meets the Underdark Island of Nablata. You can see this massive misty veil, which there's not a waterfall here, so you don't know where this mist would be coming from. But as Tadpole carries you lower and lower, beginning to descend on the opposite side of the mountain, you can see just barely through the mist this mesa, a lot like the one you had scaled, but on the opposite side of the mountain. And rather than being barren, lifeless, rustic rock, you see trees, plant life, almost as thick as the Jade Valley, but it doesn't have that same hostile feel to it, as it almost has this... The best way I can describe it is cultivated look to it. Lucy, and it reminds you a lot of the gardens back at Wicket, the hedge maze on your parents' property. This lavish, exotic collection of plant life maintained for their beauty. And Zephyr, kind of squinting a bit in the sunlight, you can just barely make out distant marble walls, presumably of the temple. Tadpole begins to descend towards the cliff face. This hidden oasis, literally hidden away from the rest of the island, turning the other cheek, so to speak, from the Inquisition, avoiding them purely by dint of location and being simply too far to reach. As the only way to get here, or at least safely and quickly, is by going against what the Inquisition stands for, showing kindness to one of these beasts.
Wow.
As Tadpole lowers towards the ground, Gil, you are finally released.
How, they failed at every single one of these tests. Apparently no one in their entire species is capable of doing these things.
Well, to be fair, it is just the Inquisition forces of this one kingdom, but... Gil, you are finally released. What's up?
How high am I from the ground before he lets me go?
About 5 feet.
Good enough.
Just jump off.
Whee!
Yeah.
Gero, with Neon in tow, is released as well, and Lucian, you are gently deposited on your back onto the mossy flooring of this plateau.
I imagine Lucian just lays there.
Yeah, she does. She just lays there and just I really hate flying.
Tadpole lowers their beak to the ground.
I was scared of flying.
I didn't say I was scared of it, Bill. I said I didn't like it. There's a difference.
Tadpole lowers their beak to the ground, acting as almost the little draw steps of a plane to allow Caleb, Zephyr, and Kero to dismount peacefully.
And I imagine Caleb just has to rub the seat, as it were.
Yeah, no, you definitely you and Kero do. You guys got the worst of that. Zephyr, it wasn't comfortable for you, but you were at least far enough away from the shoulder blades to where more of the discomfort was trying to maintain your grip so you don't fall off.
Well,
I just like turn over and just like hug the ground.
Do you kiss the moss?
No, I just hug it. I'm just like, I miss you.
Like a bug of some kind goes crawling across their face.
Lucian, you hug the mossy, grassy ground as the party. Gil unties himself from his harness, and I presume Gil removed them from Tadpole himself.
Yes, and Garrow.
Yeah. Which Garrow gratefully stretches and accepts. Ruby lands next to Lucian and kind of looks down at them curiously with a and kind of pecks at Lucian's head lightly. Caro, how long to speak with animals last?
Let me check real quick. I believe it's like something like 10 minutes.
Alright, so it's worn off by now, but
an hour.
It may be an hour, but let me check.
Yeah, double check.
Alright, thunder spells. I'm a fool. No, it's 10 minutes. Or wait, no.
Speak with animals.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So yeah, it's worn off by now, but Tadpole... Yeah, tilts their head at you, Caro, and gives a nod and a...
What?
I'll cast it again. I don't use my spells too often, so it's fine.
Okay. You cast Speak with Animals again. Tadpole kind of tilts their head at you, and... Well, looks like you guys made it. Do you guys want me to, like, stay here, or... Because I probably shouldn't be away from my post for too long.
No. Just come back every once in a while. We will give you food for your effort.
Okay, thank you. What was your name?
My name is Caro.
Thank you, Miss Caro. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
And with a massive beat of, again, larger wings than even Ruby, despite this thing being a juvenile, Tadpole takes off into the air, vaulting off the cliff face, this time much more quickly without the extra weight, finding their footing, so to speak, and taking off and disappearing into the sky.
Gil!
Yes, Lucian?
Your dragon is trying to murder me.
Ruby kind of tilts their head and looks to you, Gil.
Wait, didn't Caro use Speak with Animals?
Yeah, but Ruby hasn't actually spoken yet. They're just more pecking at Lucian.
Oh, okay.
Ruby, what's wrong?
Is she dead?
No, she's okay.
Yeah, no, she's... Sadly, no.
Damn!
She's just...
You know what, Pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just scared of flying, Ruby.
Why?
But she's okay. Because she's weird.
Because she's weird.
Ruby
I
kind
am
of...
not scared of flying. I just don't like it. There's a difference, Gil.
Caleb is going to be like, I believe the difference is what they call merely academic.
Well, you know, I'm an academic person.
Okay.
You do know what that phrase means, though, right? The only...
Of course I do, Gil. I almost called you Gil. I'm so sorry. Of course I do, Caleb.
Alright. What's insult?
I know, that's why I said I was sorry. I shouldn't insult Caleb like that.
Gonna watch that.
Good job for keeping up with us, Ruby. I'll give her a little pat.
Matthew's able to deal with this because he usually hates like groups and stories that like act like this.
Well, if it's what the players want to do, then my job is to DM for it.
Because like I remember like he always hates like in shows where like the characters are just like kind of jerks to each other.
I do, and I still do. But if it's what the players want, then it's what the players get. Ruby kind of shakes themselves at you, Caro, seeming pleased. Surrounding jungle and out towards the unsun sea, and kind of wiggles excitedly at the sight of all the different flying dragons, peacefully feasting on fish, avoiding the worst of what their terrestrial and aquatic comrades had experienced on the island.
Well, have fun, Ruby.
Ruby kind of looks to you in surprise, but gives a nod and, just call me if you need me. And similar to what Tadpole had done, vaults off of the side and dives down into the water to start hunting and socializing to their heart's content.
Garrow will also give some pats to Garrow because he had a rough ride.
Yeah, Garrow looks unhappy, but...
Is he growling?
Not that unhappy, but definitely, like, that kind of cat you just gave a bath to pout. But at your pet's Garrow kind of like begrudgingly softens up and
face going, doesn't he?
Yeah, kind of begrudgingly leans into you. Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, but it's kind of a breed of cat, or at least a look of them, so they have more than one.
Yeah, but yeah. As you all stand to your feet, Zephyr and Neon towards the front, kind of overlooking the surroundings. You see, stretching in front of you, deep, misty jungle, not unlike the Jade Valley. And given the lack of visible bodies, or even the smell of definitive rot, between that and there is insect life you can see, some of which, unfortunately, has already noticed you as well. But given the activity and life here, and just how separated it is geographically from the rest of the mainland, this doesn't have the same mystique and hostility that the Jade Valley had. And you can see the occasional fat little flying dragon kind of glancing curiously at you guys before diving down to snag some bugs and flying back into the canopy. The jungle is before you. And in the distance, just barely over the treetops, you can actually make out the distant marble walls of the temple.
Wait, so we're not at the temple yet?
Well,
yeah, but there's just a little bit of jungle to go through, and it looks safe. It's not like the dangerous trek that the Jade Valley was. It's Lucian observed that this place looks cultivated. They likely just grew this jungle here, both to camouflage the temple from onlookers and just as like a display.
Fair enough.
Keep going.
Yes, please. I'll get up and
So
dust myself off. And...
so far?
At this point, it's about... Let's see, you guys... it's about 4:30 at this point. Maybe 5.
Okay. So, like, kind of afternoon?
Yeah, like late afternoon.
Because, like, Caleb don't have keen mind, so he doesn't know exactly what time it is.
Yeah. I'm more just like giving you, like, for your reference, like a visual. Like, okay, it looks like it would be what about 4:30 it looks like.
Okay. Well, Caleb will start walking towards the jungle. He's like, alright, well, let's get to that temple.
Alright. Zephyr, I'm sure you're eager to get moving, so Caro, any last bit business here on the cliff before you join your comrades?
No. I'll be good.
Right. Okay. You guys begin to trek. The surrounding trees begin to not consume quite, but almost you get the feeling of camouflage as you enter them. The sky split between the starry lit caverns of the Underdark and the magically induced artificial atmosphere of the island. You are hidden from all of that by a thick jungle canopy. And looking around, you all can see very widespread plant life. You see beautiful orchids and flowers growing along the path.
Orchids?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see the trees actually are bearing fruit, although not any fruit you recognize. While it is...
one of these fruit.
Sure, make a nature check as you kind of
I would like to also inspect.
Make a nature check.
Let's see, Caleb gets +2 to nature.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not going to use my instruction for this.
Yeah, on a fruit.
Yeah, Caleb got an 8. He's kind of a dingus. Given his
You know what?
His lowest...
It's okay, because Lucian got a 9.
Caleb also has... Given Caleb's actually... Of intelligence and wisdom, Caleb actually has more intelligence than wisdom.
Fair.
But he's apparently a bit of a dingbat when it comes to nature.
Alright. Also, to answer the question you sent me, Gil, because I can't, I'm not really in a position to text right now, 2 days. Alright. Caleb, you kind of, so Lucian, you got a 9, and Caleb, you got a 7, you said?
8.
8, sorry. Caleb, you kind of curiously glance, and you can see it's not just fruit on trees, you can actually see several on vines. And kind of reaching forward curiously, you pluck this interesting reddish-yellow fruit from the vine. And kind of looking it over, you kind of give it a little squeeze. It's quite soft. Are you willing to take a bite of it, or are you just kind of inspecting?
Caleb's gonna look to Carol and be like, "Hey, Carol, do you think this fruit's poisonous?"
I'll inspect it, I guess.
Make a nature check.
Okay.
You see this?
Carol have gloves.
Yes.
Okay. Because, like...
Yeah, the only thing Caro doesn't have is a helmet.
What?
But she's not exactly putting it against her face.
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say, if she didn't have gloves, then anything that's not poisonous would become poisonous. It's like Kara, like without gloves, grabs it.
When he
like,
asked
"Oh,
if it's
now."
poisonous,
This is a nature check, right? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Caleb figures.
Got a 19. I'm using different dice now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, dice jail.
Yeah, dice jail for the other ones.
Alright, and Gil, what were you going to say real quick?
he's checking it out. Gil's just gonna take one and bite it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Not really. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
You asshole.
I'm gonna level with you.
Probably gonna be.
You wonder why everybody thinks Gil is, like, just automatically assumes what Gil is going to do is kind of dumb? It's because he does stuff like this.
I know.
Go for it. If you want to do it, do it. If it,
Yeah, it's up
wanna
to
do
you.
it.
I'm just giving you a chance to back out.
Well, I'm guessing that answers Caleb's question.
Opportunity.
Yeah, you'll do it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. None of you pay this much mind as Gil just kind of slows down a bit and snags one of these fruit off the vine and just unceremoniously bites into it. Almost more half listening as Gil, you know, if Caro says, yes, it's very poisonous, do not eat, it's too late to back out now.
Wow.
But, Caro, you kind of curiously look over the fruit. Again, it's soft, smooth, this reddish-yellow color. And while it is not any fruit you personally recognize, again, Underdark, you do conclude with at least relative certainty that it does not appear poisonous. Although a more thorough inspection would be required to know for certain, you are reasonably confident this isn't poisonous, as not only does it not have any obvious signs of being a toxic plant, as there are some tells for that. You also, given Lucian's observation that this place was cultivated, you don't assume they would allow a poisonous fruit to take root on a path that's meant to be taken by worshippers. As this isn't the restraint temple, this is...
Sure it was.
Gil, you taste into a fruity and delicious mango.
Carol will look to Caleb and say, I'm pretty sure it is not poisonous.
Alright, Caleb.
And Caleb, you kind of glance and see Gil already halfway through one.
Caleb's like, oh, I guess it'll be fine. And Caleb's gonna take a bite of it.
Mm-hmm. And again, incredibly sweet.
It's delicious.
Caleb
In mine?
Yeah, what's that?
Just like kind of light up because it's sweet and he's young. I will admit, in my personal experience, even at 14, sweet still causes me to freak out like a little kid.
Valid. They make me do that now.
So Caleb's just gonna start gathering these fruits.
Alright. And Lucian kind of
curious. Who's a vegetarian, so...
Lucian kind of intrigued by this display of apparently delicious fruits. You reach up into one of the trees and pluck it. And while it is slightly familiar to you, you think you may have seen it in a trade caravan on the way here. You have this unusual looking fruit. It's yellow, and while it's round, it has like a slight bump on either end of it, and it has this very bumpy texture to it.
Is it a lemon?
Quite possibly.
That sounds like a lemon. It sounds like a lemon.
When life gives you lemons.
Lucian is gonna... Well, actually, did you know that lemons are actually not organically grown? They're actually bred.
Yeah, they're hybrids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did say this place was cultivated.
Yeah. Anyway. Lucian is gonna... the skin is tough, so I'll probably have to peel it like an orange. Yeah, I'll peel it like an orange and try to eat it.
Alright. Lucian, you start to curiously peel your fruit, and as the one who observed this place was cultivated, you're even more confident than Caro that nothing here is going to be dangerous. Especially as, again, this isn't a place to test your restraint like the previous ones. You peel the fruit, holding this, like, odd little core to it. Some yellow juice drips over your fingers, and kind of shrugging a bit, you take a bite.
It is sour.
Yeah, it is sour.
It's sour.
You feel this immediate, like, throat-clenching thirst, and your mouth almost puckers against your will as you bite into a whole-ass peeled lemon.
Just a whole ass.
Ouch.
Lucian's whole face just like puckers, and she's just like, it's sour.
I can feel
You
the
would like
enamel
to pluck
melting
another
off
mango?
I could just feel.
Like, Gil wants to...
I could.
Caleb first.
I was just saying out of character. I can feel the enamel melting off of their teeth.
Yeah. And Gil?
Gil just wants to grab another mango and pass it to Lucy and say, "This one's better."
I cautiously take a bite.
Alright.
Probably be an interesting
Taste one of those, like, what is it? What are they called? Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, yeah.
Salad.
Yeah, first they're sour, then they're sweet. Good times. Alright. Zephyr, anything you want to do while walking the path?
Oh, I will point out, like, if they bite into the core of a mango, it's going to be really bitter. And kind of tough. But I guess Gil and Caleb would figure out that the core is not very good and just get...
Well, yeah, then you guys are basically just biting out of it, and you would... because I believe the core is, like, visible, right? So you could just, like, see the core or kind of scoop it out and toss it to the side and keep eating. As that much you're at least familiar with from surface fruit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zephyr's just gonna be like, well, this is my party, as he's just gonna continue onwards.
Well,
Alright.
Zephyr doesn't like
Yeah,
fruit.
Lucian's just gonna eat her mango and just try to forget that happened.
Caleb's gonna gather some of these, because, you know,
Alright.
this is probably
Yeah,
better than
I would like to gather
rations.
some too.
Alright, I'll say both of you make me survival checks. Depending on how well you do, you might snag a few extra rations.
Natural one. Batlin's going to jail.
Okay. Caleb?
Oh, do I need to roll something?
Yeah, survival check to see, like, if you get any additional rations out of mango gathering.
Mango gathering. Survival?
Yeah.
I get +1 to survival. Like I said, his wisdom is probably his worst stat right now. Other than his strength.
Yeah, I get that.
It's gonna, I'm trying to get it in the light. It's gonna be a 9.
Alright. You can only carry so many mangoes, and you don't want to, I'm assuming, sit here all afternoon gathering them, but you can always come out and grab more, get some on the way back. But you are able to gather a decent armful, which you estimate would give you a day of rations.
So I'm gonna mark it as a day of mangoes.
Yeah, a day of mangoes. And Lucian, you have a bountiful haul. You pass up the yellow fruit, as you now know the evils of that fruit. However, you do see some similar looking green ones that look a lot more appealing, and start to quickly snag as many as you can. Lucian, I would like you to give yourself 3 days of unripe lemons.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot.
I thought they were going to be limes, which are bitter.
I thought it was limes too.
I love you too,
I'm going
Matt.
to assume that unripe lemons are probably even more bitter.
I'm sure.
I'll find something to do with those lemons. I will take those lemons, Matthew, and I will do something constructive.
Oh, you're
Are you gonna
not
make
gonna
lemon?
make life take the lemons back?
Yeah.
Alright.
The portal joke.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Such a good
alright.
game.
It is.
Okay.
All right.
It's going to be even more acidic and have less nutrients than a regular lemon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just worse than a lemon. By
Temple
far.
is this that we're going to?
Yeah, it's literally just a worse lemon. Alright. Satisfied with your fruit
Matthew.
satisfied with your fruit pickings? You guys continue down the path. It doesn't take you too long. The afternoon sun beginning to snail its way across the sky. And you guys find yourselves, as the tree line begins to thin, the pathway at your feet begins to give way from dirt and moss to cobblestone. And that's actually the first thing that catches some of you guys' eye. You hadn't thought about it, but Zephyr, even you kind of briefly consider the fruit trees and this whole bountiful orchard in general still stand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the flower garden at the Temple of Restraint had been completely burned to the ground and only survived with the next generation of seedlings.
I'm curious. Which temple is this?
This is the Temple of Rivet. This is supposed to challenge your memory.
Rivet?
Oh, God. I thought we already did memory. Oh, no.
No, that one was basically paying attention to things, like looking at the details. This is basically challenging your recall, like you have to remember things.
Well, this was made for Lucian.
It is. But you guys will have some fun, too.
It seems like this one is like... Does it seem like it's still being maintained?
Well, you haven't gotten a good look at it yet, so we'll see. But it certainly looks like if the Inquisition got here, they weren't able to do as much damage as the last ones. You guys continue your way forward. And eventually the jungle opens up. And you all kind of startle for a second as you see what appears to be a massive dragon. But on closer inspection, your heart rates kind of go down as it appears to simply be a massive dragon statue. Specifically of a crested dragon like Ruby. Looming high over all of you. And between its legs and under its beak and wings, you can see the entrance hall, the whole thing surrounded by walls. But rather than the building structure of this one, Caro, as you and Gil kind of crane your heads a bit to try and see a bit over the walls, you can just barely make out the roofs of houses. This statue, and I will say, you can see eyes within the statue that glow a bright, bright blue. Through... Nope.
What's up? So we're approaching the temple now?
Yeah, this statue certainly looks ceremonial, although from the looks of it, there's like houses and stuff here.
Does the statue and stuff look like it's been maintained recently?
Make a perception check.
You said that the eyes were glowing blue?
Yeah, the eyes are blue on this one.
Matt? Okay.
That's going to be a 21 for perception.
Caleb kind of stepping back and looking over the walls, the statue, and what you can glimpse on the other side of it. Basically, like the pathway of stone taking you, like, under the pterosaur statue's bulk, where its beak and wings loom over you. Somewhat intimidating. It does look like it has been maintained, although on closer inspection you can see cracks and burn marks. It looks like there was a battle here, but the temple survived. You can see signs of damage, and from the looks of it, some of it has indeed been cleaned since then. You can see some singes and ash marks that have been scrubbed away, and from the looks of it, some of it even painted over. The Inquisitors definitely got here at one point, but the temple managed to withstand it.
So it seems like there might be people here.
Quite possibly.
As we continue along, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have anything they want to do out here?
No.
Okay.
No.
You guys cautiously approach the statue and, not seeing anything obvious, step through the threshold. What's up?
What?
All I heard was Roboto.
Alright, is there a door?
No. There does appear to be a door, although it is currently open. A set of wooden doors that have not withstood the test of time as well as the stone, but do still stand. They're just open at the moment. And I will say, Gil, on looking at the doors, you can actually see some very familiarly shaped runes.
I read them.
Can you read Draconic?
No.
Could you ask Zephyr to read it, Jeremy?
Well, he said he was familiar.
He did say he's familiar, just he never specified what runes.
It's like every time you
Hey,
run
Zephyr,
into...
can you read this?
Hmm?
There's writing on the door.
And?
Could you
Could you read it?
please?
The biggest sigh.
I'm not asking you to kill someone. I'm just asking you to read something.
I think it would be easier for him to kill somebody at this point.
Yeah, I mean, not that hard to kill, but I don't do. That's more my brother's department. He'll go up to the text and see what he can read.
Make me an intelligence check.
Alright. Come on.
He's not making a disadvantage anymore because he's, read the entire...
Guidance. Could I, tap him on the head and give him some guidance?
Sure. Add a d4 to whatever you roll, Zephyr.
Gives you a head pat of guidance.
Intelligence, okay. Not too bad.
Add a d4 for guidance.
12 plus 3 equals 15.
Alright. Zephyr, it's actually very short what's written here. You hope that's actually just because it is short and not because some of it's been cut off by the rotting wood. Both sides of the door actually say the same thing in Draconic. Simply the phrase, "The trial has begun."
No insight was gained from this.
I'll just relay the message of, looks like we've already...
Go! Let's see what the trial is. Let's begin already. I'm going to look around and I'm going to remember every detail.
I want to look at every little thing.
She's gonna break out and tell us. She's gonna break out a microscope and start studying every fucking atom of this place.
I mean, don't tempt her.
Alright. With Zephyr's observation that your trial of Rivet has already started, you guys step over the threshold. And I will say a couple minor notes that you guys catch. As you guys cross the threshold, you kind of have to blink a little bit, as something seems off, but you can't quite put your finger on what. But Caleb, you're the first to notice it, although the rest of you, it doesn't take you much longer. Turning your head upwards, you don't see the open sky you had thought you were going to see. You can see the sky, but now that you're over the threshold, the sky is visible, but through this circle. And as you slowly trail your eyes downwards, you realize that you're in a massive cavern. The mist around this place must have been so thick that you hadn't realized that you were going into the mountain through this path. Between the jungle canopy and the mist-laden area.
We're able to hear you.
Yeah, we can. Caleb, you also notice a few other things that they don't, but you can pass them on if you wish. You notice you are not alone in this cavern. Trailing your eyes down, you appear to be in what is essentially a massive, thankfully inactive volcano, judging from that circular top. But the sides are laden with nests. And you can see several of the flying dragons of all shapes and sizes, just kind of lightly adjusting them. They don't seem to be paying you much mind yet, but just from the ones you can see, there's a lot of them. And if the rest of them were to return to the nest for any reason, to say you'd be outnumbered would be an understatement. You also notice closer to the bottom, around where your vision of the cavern wall begins to give way to the ashen marble walls of this temple, you see spider webs towards the bottom. Massive ones. Several dragon skeletons visible, stuck to them.
Oh, lovely. What are, like, the things that had, like, the roofs on them?
That had the... those were the doors that got you in here.
Oh, okay.
From the looks of it, there's either illusion magic on this place, or the mist and jungle canopy were so thick you didn't realize you were going inside a mountain until you got in. Looking around the immediate area, now, unless Caleb wants to pass on what he saw, the rest of this will go for all of you. This is definitely almost like a town. You see obvious houses in all directions. However, the path forward is completely blockaded by houses, not even any space between them to act as like an alleyway. However, there is the stone path splits, one going left and one going right. Zephyr immediately jumping to your climbing instinct. From the looks of it, the houses appear incredibly uniform, definitely a deliberate design. The houses each appear uniformly 20 feet high.
Also, Caleb will point out the things he saw.
Alright, so Caleb tells the rest of you that there's dragons nesting in the mountain above you and spider webs towards the temple.
Does the town seem like it's deserted?
Looking around, you don't see anyone. It still looks maintained. Again, there's some signs of damage from the Inquisition, but this place is still standing, clearly. But yeah, at least at a glance around, you don't see anyone.
So we just have to get to, like, the temple, right?
Well, from what Zephyr read, this is the temple.
Caleb is going to go up to one of the directions and look what's down it.
Alright, do you have a particular preference of which way you go?
Caleb will look to the right first.
Alright. Caleb.
And I will look to the left.
Alright. Caleb, Lucian, splitting from the group to head down different pathways. Caleb, to the right. You turn the corner, being careful to stay within running distance of the party if something hostile appears. And looking down the path, you see another, essentially, road of this town, although you can see another turn going left up ahead, but if you keep going forward, it then turns to the right. And your brow kind of furrows as you start to piece it together. And Lucian turning to the left and peeking around the corner carefully. Yes, easily. And Lucian, you peeking down the left, see that it continues forward before going left.
Okay, I'm just going to say to the others, it looks like we're in a maze.
I don't think that it is smart to go over the roofs, because just like the other temples, this is a test. So going over the roofs may be cheating.
Caleb is going to agree, and he's
Or
going to
we
say,
could pass for using that.
Caleb, DM, can I have Caleb see if he can remember, like, the golden rule of mazes?
The what with mazes?
Also
Sorry?
with Lucian and Hyarmen.
You know the golden rule of mazes, right?
Yes. I'll tell you what. Maybe an intelligence check.
Let's see if, like, I was gonna see if, like, Caleb, like, had ever been told that or something.
Yeah, sure. Maybe a general intelligence check.
Would Lucian know as well?
Maybe an intelligence check.
At her house.
It's gonna be a 21 in total.
Okay, Lucian.
Hang on. Gotta pull up my stats. Pull up my stats.
I'll go ahead and give Caleb his result while you're rolling.
Natural 20.
Okay.
So 24.
Caleb, your father had actually given you some legitimately useful advice here. Your father always told you that in the event you ever found yourself lost and unable to find something, whether that's finding a specific building or simply trying to find your way back to him in the event you wandered off, there was a piece of advice he had given you that you feel like might come in handy here. In the event you're unsure of where to go, keep going right, but do not take your hand off the walls. And as long as you keep going, you will eventually find your way to the objective, even if it does end up taking you on occasionally roundabout routes.
Caleb's going to listen to the roll, and he's kind of like, well, I know that there's one sure way to deal with something like this. And he's going to put a hand on the right wall, and he's going to just start following it.
And Lucian, while you had attempted the hedge maze at home, you never succeeded. Or rather, on your own time, you were confident you could have done it. But your brother always turned it into something of a competition to get there first. And no matter what, he always won. But while he said there was a secret to it, he refused to ever tell you. So, while you do not know the grand secret of solving mazes,
God damn it. Another dice fell out of my hand.
So yeah, while you don't know any grants... Real quick, while they resolve technical issues, Kato and Zephyr, what are the two of you doing?
Oh fuck, which dice did I... Oh fuck, it was the D20. I'm gonna have to find that.
Oof.
Zephyr walks forward.
Okay.
Why couldn't it have been the fucking D100? The dice I don't fucking need.
Hey, you never know when you need a D100.
Yeah, take your time. We'll, yeah, so Zephyr, you're gonna walk forward. Any goal in mind, or are you just,
walking straight forward, not going left or right.
And I'm guessing you're gonna use your slippers to try and scale the rooftops?
Yeah.
Okay. Kato, what are you doing?
Oh my god, you not
How high are the walls?
20 feet high.
I'm fucked.
You will follow Zephyr for once.
You're following me.
Do you have a climbing speed?
I don't think...
I believe you have to be raging. So basically, you're either gonna have to make a roll or you're gonna have to start raging.
Rage. I want to make you roll.
All right.
Well, yeah, like, you know, half the part. It seems like this would be a good idea. Half the part's like, let's do it.
Alright, Caleb starts heading right. Zephyr starts climbing.
Do the opposite of whatever Lucian says? That just is...
No, I was just gonna do it even if you said it or not. I was just...
Well, let's see how it pans out for him. Gil's gonna be climbing with Zephyr. Kero, what are you doing?
Well, Karo's jump height falls a little bit short of being able to jump into it, but...
Well, I'll say I'd give you advantage on your checks to make the jump. You just have to jump slightly up to it and then like try to fumble to get a grip. Is that fair to you?
Well, by a little bit, I mean like 5 feet short.
Oh yeah, I'll still allow that. If I'll give you advantage if that works for you.
Okay, I will try to jump up.
All right. Lucian, you see Zephyr, Kero, and Gil seem intent on climbing and taking the direct path, so to speak. Caleb, however, is placing his hand on the right side of the walls and just walking.
Would this be acrobatics?
Okay, and what was the outcome of my
knowledge for solving mazes?
last thing I heard was
basically, you did try the hedge maze at home, but your brother always beat you because he would make it a competition, and he said there was a secret, but refused to ever share it with you, much to your chagrin. So while you do not know any grand secret of solving mazes, you are confident in your ability to solve it, and I will say, with a natural 20, I will say, it does occur to you that climbing isn't necessarily not. You think about it, and the Restraint Temple punished you because your solutions for circumventing the puzzle simply weren't showing the value of the temple. But this isn't necessarily not remembering anything. This is just taking the most direct path possible. So while you don't know for sure, a part of you suspects that it actually may not necessarily be against the rules to simply climb the walls. Although you estimate it's going to be easier for some of the party than others, given that Gil can rage to climb, Kero can jump, Zephyr can climb walls. You and Caleb, and while Caleb's no stranger to climbing, as far as I know, you don't have any inherent capacity to do such a thing.
So.
Lucian will go with Caleb.
Alright. Caleb, Lucian falls in line behind you, and I'll say Neon accompanies the two of you, as you see the rest of the party start climbing the most... What's up?
Does Neon say anything, or is he just silent?
Neon kind of observes curiously, seeming more like they're interested if this is going to result in a punishment or not. Given that the last time the only thing that happened was you were forced to wait for a bit, Neon doesn't seem afraid of what the temple may offer, and more just curious if there's going to be any kind of hilarious punishment. Zephyr, easily reaching the top first without any effort, but Gil and Kero will see how the two of you do. Zephyr, you reach the top. Gil and Kero, make me athletics or acrobatics checks, your choice. Although, Gil, if you're raging, you can circumvent that, but you will obviously expend a rage. And Kero, you make yours with advantage because you were able to jump all but the last 5 feet. So. Hell yeah, alright.
Those are a lot better.
Yeah. And, Gil, are you going to rage or are you going to roll?
I think you mentioned rolling.
I'll roll.
Yeah.
I got
Alright.
a 25.
Okay.
Did you roll before you decided that?
No, I think you said it earlier, way before, just...
I don't think you said I was going to roll. I don't know if y'all heard me.
Yeah, I heard it, but I think it was...
Yeah, I'm just having to manage like a bunch of different people, so I may have missed it as all. And I'm trusting you guys to be fair, so I don't have to force you to show me your dice rolls, because that annoys me personally, so I don't want to make you do that. I trust my trust to be rewarded. Zephyr, you reach the top of the roof. It's this kind of like interesting stonework material that kind of reminds you of the rooftops back at Mercurial a little bit. However, you're startled a bit to see Caro already standing there, having hopped and quickly clambered their way up in one smooth motion. Caro basically getting up there as if with all the difficulty of climbing a ladder. Gil, you have to grab onto windowsills and door frames, but you are able to reach the top and pull yourself over the side. And as the three of you get to your feet and look around, no shaking, no obvious signs of response. Even the dragons, for their part, kind of glance a bit at you as you're now more visible to them, but otherwise do not seem particularly bothered by your presence.
They just squawk and go on about their day.
Caleb, Lucian, and Neon kind of glancing up at the roof. Indeed. It seems as if they are not being punished for taking this route. Zephyr, you and the others can see over the roofs now. Indeed, there is a confusing, often like wrapping back around on itself network of streets. As you do not see anyone here. The town definitely does seem abandoned, at least as far as you can tell. However, you are able to see directly ahead of you, albeit over several rooftops and streets, what appears to be a glowing blue rock, particularly large, embedded in the cavern wall. And Zephyr, if you squint, you can just make out what appears to be a tunnel leading forward. If you make it either across these rooftops or through the maze, there definitely does seem to be a path that you can trace from this view. So, if you like, you can either attempt to direct the party the correct way, or
you think Zephyr's
simply take the direct route and
help anybody?
Hey, he's helped you guys out before, to be fair. He just likes being difficult.
Does Gil see this path?
You can make a perception check. I just gave it to Zephyr because his perception is naturally very high, but before you do that, Zephyr, what do you do? Because you got the info first, so you get first dibs.
So, do I see a path where I can take?
Yeah, it definitely looks like you can take the direct route forward, and there does seem to be a route on street level that would lead to this tunnel. It would just be a bit more complicated.
You know what? I'm already here. Nothing's happened. I guess I'm walking the roof.
Okay. So, what's your approach going to be? Are you basically just going to walk down the roof, across the street, up the next one, and just keep going that way?
Yes. It's kind of like see, like, you know, obviously, if there's like some like where you can get a little more forward before having to go down and upwards. But yeah.
Okay. Caro, what's your long jump?
My long jump is 25 feet.
Alright, Caro, from the looks of it, you estimate you can easily just hop across the streets without any issue.
And then Gil's like...
Yeah. Gil, what's your plan? If you want to follow Zephyr this way. And you can attempt a perception check to see the path forward. Although you will have to try and relay that to Caleb and Lucian to the best of your ability.
So, trying to remember if I had anything right.
One more time?
Like, would my character have like a basic like pen and paper?
Lucian does.
I mean, have you picked up pen, or basically have Lucian give you pen and paper?
Yeah, she's got an ink pen.
That you would have like some way of like writing something down.
Try to draw the maze. Top down.
Okay. So, Gil, do you want, if you haven't rolled already, roll perception.
So that is 15.
Okay. It's a bit hard to see, as this place is incredibly misty, even in this cavern. But you can see at least the sort of... You can see basically the closer half of the path forward, but beyond that, you're kind of working blind. Again, it's incredibly misty. You can just make out the gleam of the rock on the other side. It appears the mist is sort of a last-ditch defense of this temple in this particular circumstance. And I will say, this is going to be introducing the first part of this temple's challenge. For the duration of your being inside this temple, you guys cannot ask me to roll history to remember something in character. You have to either recall it yourself or accept that you don't remember and try it again. So that being said, Gil, I'm going to tell you this once, and you'll have to either roll again to get the information again, or find a way to keep it committed. Are you ready for me to tell you what directions to go?
Like, before the campaign.
I will say, yeah, if it's...
I'm giving him my notebook.
If it's lore or pre-campaign information, that I will allow, but basically you can't say, hey, I don't remember this, can I roll history? As long as you're in this temple, you cannot do that.
So does Keen Mind even work here?
Okay, I'm ready.
Keen Mind works, but only within the confines of Keen Mind. And, alright. Gil, the part of the route you can see that leads forward, starting from the door, is right, right, left, left, second right.
Okay.
Shout over to Lucian and Caleb. I see the route you need to take. Well, at least part of it.
I'm telling you right now, Caleb is not going to take his advice on something that involves thinking.
Alright, noted.
You know what? That's
Well, how about you,
absolutely
Lucian?
fair. There's Lucian.
Neon kind of rolls their eyes and just, oh, you're both going to get us killed.
like they don't trust you with
I want to see if Lucian can figure it out.
figure out. It sounds like they're just doing the golden rule of just walking until it figured itself out.
Yeah. I mean, well, it works.
Yeah, it works.
It is like a surefire way to solve a maze.
Yeah.
There's like, mazes aren't really a whole lot to them, it's just remembering where you've been.
Yeah.
Which is
That
part
being
of
said-
why the rule works.
Yeah, because you're basically never
always-
going to go to the same place twice.
I think they don't want my help.
Yeah. It only gets top-down maze.
I'm just gonna follow after
Okay, like, legit.
Zephyr and Caleb.
Legit. Think about the things that Gil has chosen to do up to this point. Can you blame them?
No, I don't blame them.
He hit an electric fence with a metal sword.
In his defense, he didn't know what electricity was, but the rest of the stuff I don't really have a straight up defense for.
He tried
But
to, after
he
knowing
doesn't
about
blame you for not
electricity,
trusting him.
it's like the after like learning about that, he then punched an underwater monster with an electric thing.
Well, like, kind of like just
Yeah, but yeah, the core point stands, and like Jeremy said, it's not that he's blaming you, and more just like, okay. That being said, Gil, are you going to? So you're going to follow Zephyr. How do you want to go about this? Again, you can rage to circumvent a check with each rage, or you can make the check, but of course risk failing.
He's going to keep rolling.
All right, make me make me 2 more athletics and acrobatics checks, and give me each one separately.
And or?
Or.
Yeah, so the first one is 20.
Okay.
And the second one is 14.
Okay. Caro, are you going to keep following Zephyr?
Yes.
All right.
I thought Carol went off ahead. It's like, all right.
The 3 of you set off, leaving half of your party behind, splitting the party in a dungeon. Zephyr just calmly walking down walls, across streets, up walls, across roofs, down walls. Caro, able to deftly, easily make these jumps. Getting up to the roof was one thing from just a straight standing stop, but getting across these streets with a running start is nothing. And Gil, you do manage to make the jumps as well, although it's a little more difficult for you without Caro's leg strength. And on the second jump, you do kind of stumble. Like Senfley, you do stumble a bit, and Caro and Zephyr have to kind of grab you so you don't fall and like break some.
Let's be real. It was probably Caro who grabbed you. Zephyr probably didn't give.
Yeah, I mean, no, Zephyr doesn't grab.
All right, Caro has to grab you to keep you from falling. Garrow has to take it a little bit slower, but with their climbing ability, they're able to easily keep pace. It just takes them a little longer. And you guys make it to about the center of the maze, and we're going to come back to you. Caleb and Lucian with Neon in tow. So you guys are just going to continue with the golden rule of keep going right?
Yeah, Caleb's just going to keep doing what he knows.
No, I'm going to see if Lucian maybe can figure it out. Maybe with an intelligence check, or...
I'm freely going to tell you, you're not going to, in the middle of a maze, just magically figure out the way forward. You can check out the different paths if you want, but Caleb seems intent on the stick to the right and keep going rule.
He kind of stops and sighs. I shouldn't have done that. Gil, can you help?
He's gone.
Well, no, I'll say, like, because I let them... Yeah, like, I'll say at this point, because you guys are actually would be about at the same point, like, just geographically, because, again, their thing was taking place, like, on its own, and then this is what you guys were doing during. So I'll say, yeah, like, after the second, or rather the first jump, and like the second set of rooftops, Gil, Lucian down at street level, you can hear her. She's just down on the street while you're up on the roof.
I was mean to you. Can you please help?
And Caleb didn't say anything. He was just going to let him talk and then just not listen. So Caleb didn't, like, call him out or anything. He just wasn't gonna...
Yeah, he just didn't give a response one way or the other.
Right, left, second, right.
I memorized that.
You memorized those exact words?
Yes.
Okay. Caleb, your roll thankfully appears to actually have you already taking the next right, which, Lucian, I'm assuming you follow?
Yep.
Alright. You guys wrap around a row of houses, and start going back towards the right. And you basically go backwards the distance you had already gone, just different route now. However, as you turn the next corner, you can see ahead of you is a dead end, and there are two routes to the left. Caleb, your solution is going to take you to the second left, but Lucy and Gil's advice says to take the first left.
I take it as Gil gave it.
Alright, Caleb. Lucian breaks off from you to take the first left you see, but your strategy is going to take you to the second. Do you break off or continue your current course?
Caleb's gonna keep doing what he knows. We'll trust that in the end everyone will find their way to the end.
No.
Okay. Lucian, Caleb continues on ahead. Neon kind of looks a bit furtively, but looks to you, Lucian, and you take Gil's directions and don't lose him. I'll keep an eye on him. And he gestures to Caleb and kind of jogs to keep pace with him.
Don't worry, I'm memorizing everything so I can do it backwards.
You hear, Caleb, you hear the footsteps of Neon catching up with you as you continue trailing your hand along the buildings and doorways to keep moving forward towards the second left. Lucian, giving them a last glance, you take the first. Your route takes you forward, and you see a path leading ahead that then curves to the right, and a path to your left.
You take the left.
Alright. Caleb. As you and Neon continue forward, as Lucian goes on ahead, as you turn to continue your hand on the right strategy, looking ahead, you kind of stop for a second and squint, as there's kind of an ever-present light mist in this area, but this mist is weird. Rather than the kind of whitish blue, this mist has a almost silvery golden look to it. This sort of like arcane energy to it. This like bright glowing mist that sticks out from the rest of it. You can't see what's on the other side through it.
So this place is mostly stone, right?
Yes.
There's nothing that'll like catch on fire.
The doorways are wooden.
But like even if the doorways caught on fire, the fire couldn't spread very much.
No, yeah. Everything in here is basically carved out of stone and marble.
Before Caleb's gonna pause, and he's gonna take a laser shot down that hall to make sure there's nothing there. Because it seems like if there was anyone who was friendly, they would have saw them by now.
Okay. Can you roll me a d4?
Uh-oh. No.
Hang on, let me find something that's a d4.
That's d4.
I can do it.
I got a 3.
You wouldn't happen to have a Sphinx in here, would you, Matthew?
You can't see it, but I shrugged.
So that would be a 2.
Caleb, do you want to accept that, or are you still looking
I rolled
for
a
yours?
3.
Okay, so we'll take yours then.
I just clicked
You take your laser shot?
I just clicked a D&D Beyond thing.
It's all good. Acceptable either way. Taking down your laser rifle, you fire a shot, and nothing appears to happen. The laser cuts through the mist, and you can see it light up the silvery gold, but other than that, no unusual reaction. But nothing weird seems to happen, and the temple doesn't shake, but you also still don't hear or see anything that gives you any indication of what to expect or which way to go.
Caleb will continue his path slowly, but before he gets to the mist, he kind of waves the rifle around in it to see if it reacts at all.
Can you roll me another d4?
A 1. Does anything happen?
Oh, sorry. What'd you roll? It didn't come in.
I said a 1.
Okay. As you kind of wave your laser rifle curiously, initially nothing seems to happen, and you kind of glance to Neon with confusion. But as you start taking a couple steps forward, you feel yourself freeze, and you take a step backwards, and you start waving the laser rifle in reverse of the way you had just done it, and find yourself back at the start. Basically having been forced against your will to go backwards. But it wasn't like the Temple of Restraint, where it was more going backwards geographically. It felt like you were being puppeteered against your will to just reverse the motions you had done.
Okay, so you just went backwards?
Essentially, yeah, but like you noted, since you were waving the laser, you were able to see that like you basically did exactly what you did, but backwards.
So if he tries to walk forward, he's just going to turn around and walk back?
Possibly, but you did notice that when you fired that laser shot, that the laser went forward just fine.
Alright, well, Caleb will keep his hand on the wall and try to just walk forward.
Alright. I'll take care of the d4 roll so you don't have to keep doing it if you don't want to. Caleb, you start walking through, but you are able to continue forward this time, but as you look to Neon, you notice something weird. You don't see it yourself, but you and Neon are going forward, but slowly.
Oh, great.
Well, have fun.
Lucian.
Yes.
Taking the left that Guild suggested, you see two rights.
Not the first right, but the second right.
Okay.
Take the second.
You take the second right. And now you're in uncharted territory. You can see Zephyr, Gil, and Caro on a rooftop down the road. Like, they're far ahead of you, but you can make them out. Zephyr, Caro, and Gil, the three of you can see. You're on the last set of roofs. Climb down from here on the other side, and you'll appear to be on the opposite end of the cavern where the glowing stone is marking.
Gil, can you see how which way I should go?
Rip, Gil.
There? Well, you heard me.
Can I? Well, I would like to look for the next house.
All right, make me a perception check. Because you're at the end of the houses, you just need Lucian's just asking you to like help direct her towards the exit, basically.
Yeah, Lucian's lost without you.
21.
All right, are you ready?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
From where Lucian's standing, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right.
Yeah, because you stuttered, can I get you to repeat that?
Fine, but only once.
Yeah.
From where Lucian's standing, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right.
got it.
Alright.
And I will
Gil?
repeat that to Lucian.
Okay. Lucian, Gil gives you directions.
Memorize it.
Alright. Zephyr, Kara, what are the two of you doing?
Just continue along the path that we. I believe is the right. Lead me to.
Kara?
Yeah, just continue on.
Like, well, party will handle themselves.
Alright. Gil, do you keep pace with the other two, or are you going to wait for Lucian?
I want to wait for Lucian.
Okay. Lucian? Fork in the road. There's a path to the right and a path to the left.
The left.
Two paths to your right, although one's like right next to you.
You said that there's two paths to the right?
There are two rights, but Gil said right once. Last time he specified second right.
Alright, so I will say the first right.
You're under the house where Gil was standing. Two paths, one to the left, one to the right.
Right.
The rest of the path, thankfully, is actually fairly straightforward, although you're frustrated at how roundabout it is. You end up circling, like, basically, you end up basically on the other side of the houses you had just been blocked by several times, until you come to another set of branching paths. This time, one going left, another going left further ahead, and one also going right further ahead.
Right, so I'll take the first left.
This takes you down a branching, winding tunnel, or rather, like, road. Path to the right, path to the left.
Right.
Right from where you are?
Yes.
Okay. Caleb, you and Neon, get to the end. You don't know how long it's been. From your perspective, it doesn't feel like it's taking forever, but you can just tell from Neon's movements and Neon from looking at yours that you're going so slowly. The mist around you moving faster than you are. And eventually you make it to the other side of the mist, and it appears to be a dead end.
So we're gonna have to turn. So we're gonna go right back around. Oh.
However, as the two of you turn, Caleb, you put a lot of oomph into going forward on account of that you're expecting to go very slow and you want to hurry, but you kind of stumble a little bit but don't completely fall as you and Neon return to normal speed.
Okay, so now we can just go back.
Yeah. Keeping your hand on the right, you go back through the mist, this time at your normal speed, and turn to go down the path Lucian had gone. Hand on the right, you turn right, another dead end, although this one does not appear laced with anything. Just curving back around, down the left Lucian had taken.
Are you like drawing on like a maze?
I actually have the maze physically in front of me, and I'm just basically marking where you guys are relative to each other. Caleb, you take the first right, as that is your strategy. Lucian, as you circle around, Gil keeping up with Zephyr and Caro, Caleb, as you round a left, but still keeping your hand on the right, and Lucian, as you continue forward, you see Caleb walking towards you, and two paths to your right, one closest to the two of you, and the one that Caleb appeared to have just come from.
Alright, so I want to take the right. I will say hello to Caleb. Hey Caleb, we want to go right, then left, then left, then right.
You want to follow Lucian, Caleb, or stick to your current path?
I'm trying to think if Caleb's path, if the path Caleb wound up taking did actually match what Gil had suggested.
I mean, you're where Lucian was.
Well, Caleb can't tell if he can trust it or not, so he's just going to keep doing what he's doing. That's the only thing he knows he can trust.
Alright. Lucian, you take the first right. You see 2 paths going right.
Wait a minute. I mean, left? Then right. Right.
I don't think he took a wrong turn.
I will actually say...
Wrong turn.
Yeah, I'll say to clear up confusion, I won't say where, but yes, you did take a wrong turn.
Okay. I'll go back the way I came.
Alright, so
right.
that has you following Caleb. Caleb, tracing the right, you find yourself almost kind of outlining the town. You can see the cavern wall directly above you, and you kind of nervously see some of the big spider webs, like, clung to the rooftops of these houses, although you don't see any spiders.
Caleb will just make sure his hand doesn't touch any webbing.
Yeah, which thankfully does not seem to be too big of an issue. While there is some light strings of webbing on the houses themselves, it mostly appears to be on the rooftops. Continuing your path, Lucian behind you, as your paths are effectively the same at this point. Lucian, you come back to that first turn you had taken to go right down this way. Caleb, your path takes you continuing forward, and there's a right ahead of you.
Alright, you know the drill.
Alright, Lucian, you're back where you started. Caleb's taking the left and appears like he's going to be taking that first right. What are you going to do?
I'll also take the right.
Okay, so you follow behind Caleb. Zephyr, Keto, and Gil, who went ahead of the others. Hopping down, Gil, satisfied that Lucian will find her way. Your directions were impeccable. You stand alongside the other two, and the three of you, Zephyr, Keto, and Gil, see a hallway. No twists and turns, just a hall going straight forward. It is only interrupted by a big circular chamber, through which you can see another grand statue of a pteranodon. This one clutching a diamond key in its beak.
I'm going to walk down the hall.
Zephyr, Kato.
I mean, there's a diamond key. We might need said key, so, I might just say I might take said key.
I guess we're all gonna go down the hallway.
Okay.
And immediately get captured in a big box.
The three of you walk down the hall, and you find yourself entering a well-lit chamber, massive and circular, much like the ones you had seen, albeit Rigger's was a box, but still. This one, not the kaleidoscopy lights of Rigger, or the emerald green of Restraint. This one bathed in torchlight orange and diamond blue. But as the three of you enter, the torchlights extinguish. And the three of you, hear a chuckling, light, feminine voice ring out around you. Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to my hunting grounds. As the three of you turn, you see perched on what is essentially the stone standing where you would expect a gargoyle to be, is not a gargoyle. You see an unusual creature that you've never seen before. A beautiful female head with curly brown hair, green piercing eyes, and a crown of thorned roses. Pearl earrings and a velvet red cape ruffled lightly trails down her shoulders. Although, Gil, you kind of swallow, as where you expect to see human shoulders, you see the body of a lion. Long, sharp claws ticking against the stone. And widespread falcon wings tucked on her sides. And you hear as a serpent, where the tail would be, rises into view and stares at you guys. Her falcon wings are... What's up?
Would I recognize this as a Sphinx?
Make a nature check.
I know exactly what this is.
What did you roll?
I think he's saying out of character, he knows.
Oh, yes.
18.
You have heard tale of a creature like this. Indeed, the Sphinxes. Nobody knows where they come from, but, or at the very least, you don't. But what you do know is that they are seldom found wild. They are employed, for lack of a better term. Temple guards, guardians of palaces, pyramids, whatever precious belongings of royalty, typically, that can afford their services, will employ a Sphinx to guard their treasure. The Sphinx will challenge trespassers to a game, perhaps solving a riddle, answering a question, or even a simple physical contest of strength. If you pass, the Sphinx will allow you to continue unimpeded and take the treasure. If you fail, the Sphinx will fight you to the death.
Die.
Her wings... She smiles at you. You can see her wings are literally clogged with blood and guts that have dried to the feathers. You estimate she probably couldn't fly at this point, even if she wanted to. She smiles and holds up a paw. Not so fast. I think we're still missing a few players.
Correct.
Like, yes.
Caleb, Lucian, you're a bit behind with Neon in tow, but you do see the same long hallway. Gil, Zephyr, and Caro standing at the end, bathed in diamond blue light. The Pteranodon statue clutching the key in its beak looming over their backs, and them staring over the door at something you can't see.
Well, I guess we'll catch up to them.
Alright.
Yep.
As the two of you, or rather three with Neon in tow, enter into the room, the door slams shut, and Caleb, Lucian, and Neon, the three of you turn and see the Sphinx perched over the door. And as the door shuts, she starts to crawl down, almost lounging like a cat, playfully going after a mouse. Her body slinks around all of you, smiling, as she finally comes to sit and almost lounge between you guys and the key. She smiles. For those who are unfamiliar, your friend, and she gestures to Gil, already appears to have identified me. I am the Sphinx of this temple, and I am entrusted to guard this key with my life. However, there is a way I'd be willing to hand it over.
I would have thought that the temple guardian around here would have been more scaly.
She smiles, and you'd be correct, but I find that scaled things don't typically employ the values these people were looking for. The islanders wanted someone who would test your recall. And I am the only being fit to do that.
I might ask you a question first.
Okay.
That's not typically how this game works, but by all means.
Well, I know you are Sphinx, but do you have an actual name?
She tilts her head and smiles a bit quirkily. Among my people, we typically don't. Would you care to give me one? There's typically no need for names when we are often
name.
Fair enough. As I said, there's often not much need for names when there's more often than not more than one of us on any given continent. As far as anyone knows, anyway.
That's what Kenneth's gonna be like. I'm going to assume that to be fair, whatever test you have, that we become dinner.
That is indeed how the game works, Caleb. I ask you a question. I will ask all of you a question individually. She glares much more sinisterly. No hints, no spells, nothing but your own recollection of events. If you cheat, you lose. Answer me incorrectly, you lose. I will allow you to leave if you choose not to play, but you will not be leaving with this treasure unless you answer my questions correctly. If you lose, then yes, as Caleb so keenly observed, you will be my next meal, just as the Dark Elves before you.
So, we're allowed to answer correctly or choose to leave.
Indeed, but if even one of you leaves, you will not be given the key. All of you must answer correctly, or lose and best me in hand-to-hand combat.
Wait, I'm in combat in the future.
Are you all ready to play?
Il will step
Let the games
forward.
begin.
She smiles and licks her lips.
I will take your question first.
Will you now?
I will.
She gives a nod, and her wings covered in bile and gore spread, and she gives a smile. First, I wouldn't be a very good quiz master if I didn't have the answers, now would I? Her eyes begin to glow, and none of you feel anything, but she smiles and lounges back down as the glow fades.
Also, Matt, if you, I have that I don't know if it matters, but I have a divination, everything that prevents divination spells. If that does anything.
Oh, it just straight out prevents them?
Well, like, I have the amulet of, let's see, what was it called again? The amulet of proof against detection and location. It says you are hidden from divination magic. So yeah, I guess it means like scrying.
Yeah, typically that means scrying, but I'd be willing to rule that it applies here if that matters to you. But
It definitely says it's hidden from.
Matthew, you're the DM. It's up to you.
Well, no, but I more don't want to make a ruling that Austin thinks is unfair.
No, I get. I was just,
But yeah, if you think that's fair, then
I just thought it.
no, yeah, that's fair. No, yeah, it's a good distinction.
Yeah, I thought it did say that, so like, but it does say like just magic or such magic. You can't be targeted by such magic or perceived through magical scrying senses. I don't know if that's up to you. I'm hidden from divination magic, but it says so. It'd be up to your judgment. I'll
say that doesn't count here. She smiles as her eyes glow fades and the wings curl back around her, and she lounges once more in front of the statue. Does your party, for lack of a better term, have a name?
No.
No. And I kind of glare at everybody else.
We never picked
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
The question's to me.
Who's the question to?
It's to me.
Oh, don't misunderstand, darling. This is not part of the game, more of a courtesy. But if you do not have a name, then, as you have seen fit to give me one, I perhaps will give you one, in the event you win, of course.
I don't know, whatever name.
I kind of glare to the others like, I told you we needed a name!
We don't need a name.
Had a few options.
Dude.
No.
The
But
questions?
as of now, we have not settled on one.
The questions I ask all of you will be things that you have experienced during your travels together. Nothing I ask you will require more distant recall than that of a few months. Let's just hope that you've been paying attention to your surroundings.
Okay.
And as I said, no using magic to cheat. And you feel her lion claws as she steps towards you, Lucian, scratch against the small of your neck. No using that clever little brain of yours for perfect recall. That'd be unfair to the other players.
I mean, can you spell up?
She kind of wets her lip and then just kind of raises an eyebrow. And what fun would that be if I can't use my clever mind?
She smiles. Very well. She steps away from you and looks over the rest of you with a broad, fanged smile, licking her lips. Let the games begin. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't do that.
Hey Matthew, which episode did Caleb did I first start controlling Caleb?
Let me double check, because I have it. I just need to check the
I have a feeling
playlist
we're gonna have
quick.
to go back and watch some episodes.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
so
trying to
I will.
do.
Yeah, I will say. So yeah, for the player's benefit, yes, she is going to ask you guys a question that your character will know the answer to, but I am not allowing, or rather the Sphinx isn't allowing, the use of divination magic to find the answer. You have to answer straightforwardly and honestly. However, the Sphinx does appear to be willing to make an exception for Keen Mind. So it will be something your character would realistically know from the events of the campaign as you've played it, but beyond that, it's up to you to recall it.
Okay.
But I knew you were going to have a Sphinx.
All right. I've been excited for this. I have some fun questions.
Fun for you.
Oh, is it not going to be fun? Are you not having fun?
Yeah, fun for you!
Hey
Well, we
Matthew,
all have to get it
No.
right.
you do edit the uploads to YouTube,
Fine.
right?
Actual.
Yeah, I cut out the fluff, basically.
God, here's where he hears me say I'm going to use the YouTube to try and save time, and he's going to specifically pick something from something he knows he cut.
That wouldn't be fair. I promise you, this challenge is legitimately, totally winnable if you've been paying attention. That being said,
This is why I
Not
had
gonna be like,
two
how many
things of...
first?
God, Matthew,
Matthew.
you're going to make me do more studying for a D&D campaign than I did for...
well, you don't have to. You could just fight the Sphinx.
I like how he says it. Like he
Like
he
this
didn't
thing.
say that you could just try to wing it. No, he said specifically you could just fight the Sphinx, which implies that we're probably going to need the study to remember.
Well, he said that all of us have to answer the question correctly. So even if one of us gets it wrong, we fight.
Yeah. Although she'll most likely just attack the person who got it wrong, and you guys could just stay out of it and wait to see who wins.
That's what Zephyr would do, but not the rest of us.
Nah, Zephyr's always stepped in when someone's life is in danger.
Like,
I feel like some of the party might question it if Zephyr fucked up.
Yeah, that much I can believe. Anyway, we're getting off track.
They
If you want to see more of my DMing, check out...
They might just wait for Zephyr to ask for help.
Yeah. Check out twitch.tv/GrahamCrackers, GRAMECRACKERZ. Sorry about that. For my Friday campaign, The Goldshine Investigations, taking place at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Featuring a party in the same campaign setting, but across the sea, unraveling the cult mysteries of their living area. Check out our website at officialhub.info, resurrected from the grave like an awful necromancer with a blood-red sailor skeleton. Check out the link that I'm about to post in... Check out our link in chat that I'm about to post to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time at twitch.tv/OddTornadoProductions, and check out our Tumblr at twitch.tv. Sorry, man, my brain. Check out Odd Tornado Productions official on.
Fast, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm dead now. Check out Odd Tornado Productions official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Human Rogues Twitch channel at twitch.tv/killer55 with a PH. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. I will be posting that link shortly as well. Or on Ko-fi at kofi.com/OddTornadoProductions. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd, TNO capitalized. If you like this party and want to see more of them, check out our Monday game at the same time as this one, 9:30 Central Daylight Time, for our Monday game, Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters traveling this campaign setting's world to gather the artifacts of the god and unlock a treasure whose worth is beyond measure. If you really like my DMing and can't wait but to experience it for yourself, I'm putting together a party for a paid campaign that will be taking place on weekends. The Feast of Judgment, taking place in the far future of this campaign setting. Technology is advanced, armies have grown, and adventurers find themselves slowly getting phased out. Also, this will be informing the party as well. For this week's Monday game, I will not be present. I will not be available. So you guys can get together and do something if you want, but Under Locks and Keys will not be taking place this next week.
Why? Why are you doing this to me, Matthew?
I gotta go out of town. Anyways, I'll tell you off screen. It's personal business. Nothing bad. Just like gotta
for the screen.
Yeah. And they asked me to keep it private, so. I think that's everything I need to cover. I will grab the links real quick.
Post those links. I got my fucking hype ready.
Yeah, no, I'm grabbing the. I'm grabbing them.
6 Komodo hypes exactly.
Yeah, 6 exactly. There's the Discord.
Wait, maybe I should do 5 because D5.
No, true. And Patreon. Alright, thanks everyone at the table so much for playing. Thanks all of you at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.
3, 4, 5.
Bye.
Money to keep the light on.